So he's working 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He has to provide for this family. And when he gets home, your mom doesn't make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marlon said he could have easily understood if Pop would have checked out. Cause it wasn't easy.
We used to say, what, hit her or something.
Damn.
I ain't lying.
Welcome to Life Coaching by Mel, where we speak truth regarding the nuclear family. Today, we're going to be diving into a topic that's really raw and rarely talked about. What happened when the first person that's meant to love you and to nurture you does more damage than good? There's no secret here. I'm talking about mothers. And I'm specifically inspired by Damon Wayans, who was recently on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. And there he opened up about the pain that he witnessed in his household growing up. And his words hit me a little bit different. I thought I'll share that with you guys. I have several clips from that episode. If you're a current subscriber or a current listener, if you notice, I've spoken a lot this month about mothers. I'm here as a support system for anyone that's struggling with their relationship with their mother. If you don't know my story, I have a estranged, willfully on my end, relationship with my mother currently. And I will say Mother's Day, May is not without its uncomfortability. However, I'm assured that it is the right decision for myself and my immediate family. So I take this day by day and I avoid any distractions from the path that I'm on. And I believe that I can be a support system for those who are within that same journey, but looking for assistance, looking for help, looking for a guide, some sort of support. So that's what these videos are for. Definitely not here to disparage anyone, just here to tell the truth and give all the support needed to those who are listening and who are watching. So with that said, let's get into the first clip.
But my mother would always tell us, listen, if you get into a fight, it's 10 against 1.
Wow.
So y'all should never lose a fight. And my mother make you go back downstairs.
Wow.
And fight.
Now, I know you guys, most of you guys at least, are very familiar with the Wayans family. I consider them the first family of comedy. All of them pretty much are hilarious. And there's 10 siblings, as he mentioned here. This is something you always hear from big families. You hear, especially in the Black community, you can't speak for any others. You hear that a lot. You hear that if one of us get into a fight, we all get into a fight. I don't know how positive that is. I mean, we bring that up as if it's something to celebrate, something to admire, but I don't believe that's a positive thing. I mean, you essentially encourage your kids to jump other kids. I mean, what's wrong with a one-on-one fight? You can make sure that nothing happens to your sibling to an extensive status, but to have a one-on-one fight, why is that not encouraged as a parent?
So it wasn't no losing.
No losing. And my mother would fight for her kids.
Damn.
Yeah, this woman slapped Kim once in the laundry. My mother went downstairs, hair all over her head, and the lady, she was pregnant.
She beat the pregnant? Your mama was pregnant or the lady was pregnant?
My mother.
Oh.
My mother was always pregnant.
Yeah, I said she had a 10-year stretch. She was on the road. You was on the road, Dave.
Every childhood memory of her, she got a baby here and a bump here. That didn't stop. My mother chased this woman from the laundromat to her house and then was going to fight her husband.
Damn.
That's a hilarious story, of course. But let's talk about this. I always question when women say they'll do anything for their kids. When they say anything, it's typically something negative. Don't you notice that? It's typically something that's fighting or stealing or doing something corrupt or illegal to protect their kids or do something for their kids. Why it's never, I go get a job for my kids. Or it's never, I go be positive and love on everybody for my kids. It's always something geared towards an illegal activity or doing something wrong. I actually spoke to a lady not too long ago, and she told me a story about her getting into it with the employer or the cashier at McDonald's. And I honestly didn't give a damn about the story, but she just went on and told me anyway. But she told me the McDonald's employee got her order wrong and wasn't willing to give her money back. But then she was like, I'm about to beat her up. I'm like, why? Because she playing with my food. Not only she playing with my food, she playing with my kids' food. I said, okay, I mean, you can order something else, right? Or you can just get the order right, or whatever the case may be. Why would you want to fight and risk yourself going to jail? Could I do anything for my kids? I think your kids would rather have you at home, right? I mean, you go to jail, your kids be all alone, nobody to take care of them. Wouldn't that be the obvious choice not to create a scene where you have to go to jail and actually be away from your kids if your kids is that important to you? I don't know, man. I just do anything for my kids. It's illogical. So you got Damon here saying that his mom was willing to fight a woman because she hit her daughter. That's understandable. I mean, nobody wants their kids getting hit. So the reasoning behind this is totally fine. But then when you add the fact that she's pregnant, what sense does that make? I'm sorry to say this and, get mad at me if you want, but oftentimes women, in particular Black women, they put their kids at risk, not only after pregnancy, but during pregnancy. Lady, what are you doing fighting while being pregnant? Is there nobody else in the projects that can go fight this lady for you? Or all these kids that you have, they can't go help you? This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is not something, this is funny the way Damon is telling the story, but it's not a funny situation. Like, this literally is a health risk, fighting somebody while being pregnant. Then she willing to fight her husband as well. Does this lady have no limits?
For her kids, so nobody, she would send a message. You don't mess with my kids.
Right.
They don't want that crazy pregnant woman.
Again, super hilarious, but this is one of those moments where you laugh to keep from crying, or you laugh from the pain because it's been so long. But in the moment, how you imagine these kids felt seeing their pregnant mom chasing someone to fight? Although justifiable reason, but my mom's pregnant, creating a scene. He didn't add that she asked what happened. It sounds like to me she just went straight for the kill without even getting any type of context. But let's go over to the next clip.
How important do you think that is to have a black man in the household?
The greatest gift my father ever gave us was coming home.
Damn, that's deep.
Because my mother didn't make it easy. He was a dumb MFer and all kind of stuff. Because he did, she wanted stuff in life. Like new underwear, like stuff she couldn't, just little stuff, makeup and get a hair, that couldn't do it. But he came home.
The greatest gift their father ever gave them was coming home. How many of us can say that same thing? I can say that for sure about my dad. My dad was a great provider. He had moments and different things about him that could have been better. But the one thing I can say consistently is my dad always was there. He showed up. Matter of fact, no matter how tumultuous him and my mom's relationship got, he made a point to stay around, to stick around, to stay to the end until my baby sister graduated. He stayed for the kids. Some people may say, hey, brother, for all the stuff you went through, you should have left for the kids instead of staying for the kids. I admire him for that because that's all he knew. He knew that his dad stayed. He knew that his granddad stayed. Every relationship that he knew of growing up, or part of his lineage, stayed. If they didn't stay, they quickly got remarried. And I thank him for that because honestly, I'm glad he didn't leave us alone with my mom. Now, somebody watching this, and I'm gonna be honest, most likely a woman watching this will be like, well, she justified in what she did. If the fact that he couldn't provide for the family, then she had every right to cuss him out. She had every right to belittle him and make him seem like someone that's not capable of executing as a father and as a husband. I'll venture to say you couldn't be no more wrong. Let me prove it to you.
So he's working 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He has to provide for this family. And when he gets home, your mom doesn't make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marlon said he could have easily understood if Pop would have checked out, because it wasn't easy.
We used to say, what, hit her or something.
Damn.
I ain't lying.
In this episode, Damon, completely proclaimed, and his siblings, in his words, proclaimed that he is the darkest comedian in the family. So he's able to make this stuff so funny, but it's not funny whatsoever. Let me let you guys know this. This is the clear definition of the toxic maternal behavior that you see in homes. If you want to know what that looks like, what does it look like for a mom to be toxic, for a wife to be toxic? Exhibit A here. She's flat out disrespecting the father in front of the children. In a house full of boys that are turning to young men, she's speaking straight hatred towards men. And based on what he's saying here, she's using emotional manipulation. And one thing we should always remember as parents, I'm a new parent, but it's something that's clear to me, that it's not just about what you do for your children or in front of your children. It's not just what you are to your children, but it's what you are and it's what you do for their parent. They're watching us. They're watching our behaviors. They're watching what we do. I see that now in my 9-month-old. When I kiss her mother, when I show affection, me and her mother hugs, a big smile comes to her face. And she's anticipating her hug and her kiss. That matters. It matters from their infancy to their adulthood. It matters how we love on their parent.
My father, he never would like cuss at her.
Really?
Yeah, my father, when she died, he was ready to go. I miss her. I miss my gal. What? When he used to cut you out, you miss
Yeah.
every day.
You got peace now. You ain't got nobody cursing you.
I miss my gal.
Damn.
He was just ready to go. Check, please. But that's like, he taught us love, like unconditional love. He always saw her as the 16-year-old he fell in love with.
Ooh.
I'm going to ask you guys this question. You let me know your opinion. Is this true love, or is this a case of Stockholm Syndrome? And that's the true nature of this conversation I want to present to you guys. Are we really celebrating these mothers, these wives, based on the true essence of who they are, or what we have been groomed, trained, manipulated to view them as. For those of you that don't know, the Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological response to being held captive or abused. If you mean to tell me this man received all this abuse, and at the time of her death, he gets to the point of he's missing her, to the point he doesn't want to live anymore. He has no reason for living now that his wife is gone. I'll venture to say there was something missing in his life. The pain that he received and the vitriol and the ad hominem attacks and the consistent banter that he would receive from her, that had taken a toll so much that now it was the norm in his life. Now something's missing out of my life. Now I got a hole where that pain used to be. And that's the same, I think, for most of us children. When we leave our parents' house, leave our mom's presence, we're not missing her. We're not actually missing who she is and what she's done for us. What we are missing is the consistency of her voice. That's exactly what is going on with Mrs. Wayans here. It wasn't affection. It wasn't great relationships. It was just a Stockholm Syndrome. It's what became normal for the husband and the kids. If you don't believe me, listen to what the baby boy, Marlon, had to say about their mother.
All right. Then we good. You know what, baby? We can argue. We used to hang up on each other. We was like in a relationship. Now, don't talk to me like that. You call Pop and you talk to that nigga like that, click. And my mother called back like, you know, nigga, I want to tell you, thank you for that. You know, you grew me. I'm sorry, baby boy. I said, I love you, mama, but you ain't always got to do that.
You hung up on your moms?
She hung up on me. We used to go,
mother.
but that's what we did back and forth. We was two babies.
Right.
You know, she was going through menopause while I was going through puberty. My relationship, my mom was my age emotionally. She never got to grow up. She never got to be a kid because she had kids as an adolescent. So she was 16 and I was 16. And we was just raising each other. And that was the beauty of our relationship. And she'll tell you that Marlon, you know, we may fight, but we make up. And that's what love is. He teach me to communicate.
And the thing about the Wayans family, I love, so to speak, it sounds like Marlon got to a healthy place, and definitely sounds like Damon got to a healthy place. Although they don't agree with the behavior, they got to a level of understanding. And that's important for each of us. Get to a place of understanding where you don't harbor hatred and don't show empathy for your parents and understanding where they may have come from. Where the root of those problems come from is important. It's important for you to understand and know, being that we may have an opportunity to be more educated or be more aware of emotional intelligence and things of that nature, being that we're not necessarily more intelligent than them, but we are more exposed to different ideals that bring us to more rational conclusions. So that's a very healthy place, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what happened. It doesn't change the fact at all that she was rude, angry, disrespectful, so on to their father right in front of them. Let's move on to the next clip.
Jehovah's Witnesses, do they celebrate holidays? Do they celebrate things? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, did birthdays, were birthdays big in your family?
No, my mother celebrated everything. My mother would celebrate Christmas, birthdays, you know.
But how did that work? He does and she does. I mean,
My father was just going around.
I'm not saying this only happens in the Black community, but I will say this is very common in the Black community, that you have women who not willing to convert to their husband's religion. And I've had a lady on my show talking about not being willing to convert to her husband's religion. He was converting to a Hebrew Israelite. If you guys are interested in seeing that, please click above. And to me, that's hard to see, and it's hard to know that a relationship could thrive off of that. And it actually makes sense that she would be disrespectful towards him if she doesn't even honor anything that he represents. Damon went on in his interview to explain how devout his dad was to being a Jehovah's Witness. So that meant everything to him, but she did not participate. So that showed how big of a man he was, or how small of a man, however you want to look at it. That says a lot about the relationship if a woman doesn't honor you enough to take part in what you honor the most.
Are you serious, Dave?
Yeah, my mother would save money up all year to get us something. And one of the greatest Christmases we ever had was my father took the money and tried to open a business that she was saving. So we didn't have no Christmas. My mother sat us down. Ain't gonna be no Christmas this year, y'all. Like, what? No Christmas? That asshole in the room. And she would just told us what happened. My father wanted to have a business.
Right.
Again, hilarious the way Damon tells the story, but look how sad that is. You cussing out your children's father to them. This is nothing but parental alienation in a nutshell. And people think parental alienation is more prominent in divorce proceedings. No, this can happen very well with the parents still being married. I think that was the case for me. I was alienated from my father while my father and mother were still married. Stayed together a total of 30 years. And I seen the worst of my dad based on the things my mom would say. But look at what he's saying here. Another moment of the dad trying to do something better with his life and trying to move forward. She just didn't believe in the man. Kudos to him for going forward and just not even asking her about it. And, as a man doing what he thought was best for the family. But how taxing must that have been as a man to know you have zero support from your wife to do something you need to do for the family? And we know that many men stay silent when they feel disrespected from their wives. They're quiet. They're taking it all on the chin, thinking that they are doing what's best for the family. But men, what we need to realize that kids pick up on this tension regardless. Whether we address it or rebuttal or we speak up or not, kids are picking up on that tension. They know something's wrong. And I've seen this firsthand from my father's situation. You see the toll on a man's spirit. You see a man breaking down. I remember one afternoon coming home to my parents' place and a tragedy had just happened within the family. And I look all over the house, couldn't find my dad. I found him in one of the vacant rooms, just on the floor of an empty room, crying, just trying to be to himself, crying. I never asked him what exactly he was crying about. I assume it was for the tragedy that just happened, but more than likely, now that I think back at it, he was just overwhelmed, super overwhelmed with everything that had been going on and the outright disrespect that he gets from my mom on every turn. And it was at that moment I realized that men need safe spaces. Men need opportunity to get these things out without being villainized, without being talked to like a child, being belittled, without being cussed out in front of your children. Men need a safe space to let it all out. If you're a man watching this, I encourage you to find your circle, find a group of men that you can let these things out. It's sad to say we can't do that within our home, but there is a necessity to get it out. Do that. Do not keep this stuff in. It's slowly killing you. All right, so here's our last clip.
I never talked about my mother.
You didn't?
And what she, because I poke jokes, right? But you asked, what did she give us? Love. My mother was the heartbeat of this family.
That's what Marlon said.
And taught us how to love and how to, even though she sometimes didn't practice what she preached, but how to get past grudges. That's your brother. That is your sister. You love them. They're going for the rest of your life. They're going to be your brother and sister. That's what my mother gave us, love.
So let's not skip past the part where he said she didn't practice what she preached. Kudos to this family. Kudos to all these children. They were able to, based on her training, find love within each other. Because the dad is not innocent either. He definitely was physical abusive. But they were able to galvanize amongst themselves to build a bond unlike any other. And we see that even to today, how the Wayans siblings, they're just so close. It's admirable. But she didn't practice what she preached. And that's something that we hear so often in the household, black household. Hey, do as I say, not as I do. And how many know that's not even possible? Kids going to emulate exactly what they see more often than they emulate what they hear. And that common statement allows women, mothers, wives to get away with murder. It allows them to do so much damage within the household, and everyone has to sit there and take it. Because, hey, we just got to do what she say, not what she do. But when do we hold their feet to the fire? When do we hold them accountable? When do we say, either you change your behavior, or I want nothing to do with you? When do we say that? Or can they just run rampant on the family and everyone has to sit there and eat it?
Did your mom ever discipline y'all?
Yeah, my mom would do this thing. Was like, come here, let me slap your face. She wouldn't even chase you. Come here, let me say, you be doing this.
No, I think I stay over here.
And then the trick was she'd get you like this and then, bam, ears ringing. You'd be like, what the hell? Yeah, my mom with that, but she had to be really, really mad at you to hit you.
So let's talk about healing. Let's talk about how we can stop these patterns. I have 4 tools that you can use today and moving forward to help you with this. Number 1, acknowledge the truth of your childhood without shame. If you're not going to be honest about what happened, you're not going to get any progress. Even if you have to tell that truth in a comedic way, the way the Wayans do, or if you have to talk about it in a serious matter and directly, the most vital piece of this is being truthful. You got to be honest. I've seen so many cases of people willing to tell the truth up until a certain extent, especially if they're talking amongst another group. We got this thing, what happens in this house stays in this house. That's good to a certain degree. However, the truth doesn't have limits. And I'm not encouraging you to go talk to anybody willy-nilly. But when you do find commonalities amongst people, it's a great idea to release what you're holding within. I've seen people, like I mentioned, tell the truth up to a certain extent. And then once they feel the conversation going too far, that Stockholm syndrome kick in and they begin to say, hey, nah, but I still love my mama now. Now, you ain't going to get me talking about too bad. I can say what I want to say, but you can't say, all those things. And that's that protective mode, like I said, Stockholm syndrome, where you realize the true nature of me going away or getting rid of this toxic energy that I've had regarding this person, that's actually possibly going away. And that scares us. Everything I've always known, just like Damon's father, everything I've always known is going away. How do I truly move on with my life without this pain that I'm so accustomed to? So be honest. Tell the truth. And that goes right into tool number 2. Don't protect someone's image at the cost of your own healing. We have been trained, we have been somewhat indoctrinated to never speak the truth about what mom does. We have these family meetings amongst our families. Everyone, shares what they believe is going on with the family. What room for improvements do we have? But then about that 20 to 30 minute mark of the meeting, everybody began to point at mama. The issues eventually get to the one common denominator, which is mama. And we ease into that conversation. We ease into giving her that blame, only for her to get upset and end the meeting with a walk-off, and she don't talk to nobody for a week. So that trains us, that indoctrinates us, that teaches us to never tell the truth, always protect her image, because we know at any time mama can blow up. I've even had family members contact me about the things I say online. They don't ever say I'm lying. They don't ever say I need to stop what I'm doing because it's not truthful. They always say, what you think your mom have to say about that? And I always say, if she's honest, she have nothing to say about it because she knows it's truthful. As much progress that I've made in my life regarding this relationship, I still acknowledge this aspect of my content as part of my healing. As I'm continually healing, I'm continually helping others heal. The amount of people that have reached out to me to say, I can relate to your story. Same here. This is exactly what I'm going through. I went through. Thank you for this. That's all worth what I'm doing here. And quite frankly, if she's more worried about her image, and I'm talking to you as well, if your parent is more worried about their image than they are about their child, what their child has gone through by the hands of them, then that's all you need to know anyway. So you shouldn't be worried about protecting them whatsoever because they're not worried about protecting you. Not saying this is reciprocal and you got to do for do, but what are you protecting? If they're willing to let you go because you tell the truth online, how much of a relationship that you have anyway? And that brings me to number 3, therapy, inner work, journaling. That's one of my favorite things to do. This is my journal here, writing this every single day. And when my journey first started, it was more frequent than not that I wrote about my mother. But now it's periodically. This month of May, by me thinking about ways that I have moved on, how that looks for my life, how that affects my growing family, how that affects my children. I've been thinking about these things and have come to a great place. And each day I think about it, each day I write things in my journal, I get to an even better place with the decisions I've made. Because each and every one of us have an inner child. We all have this inner child within us that maybe stopped where that relationship first went sour. You may be still at that age until you work on that inner child, until you're open and honest, until you're stop protecting them, until you release yourself from the Stockholm syndrome. Until you do those things, you very well may be still stuck at the age of 13, stuck at the age of 17. Wherever that happened in your childhood, you may be still there. And again, whenever you speak to a therapist, get it all out. If you believe no one in your life or real life or anyone you interact with is trustworthy enough, I get it. Go seek a therapist, get those things out, and expect a great outcome. And number 4, watch out for signs that you are repeating the exact same behavior with your children or even with your spouse. That's something I've had to work through tremendously, especially in my first marriage. I repeated so many things I saw from my parents' relationship, my mom's behavior, and that affected our relationship tremendously. I made up my mind after that divorce, going into this marriage, it's vitally important for me to leave old things behind. And has that been a perfect journey? No. There have been moments I fell back into old habits, but I am grateful for a patient wife that's been loving towards me. I've been honest with her about this complete journey. And of course, she has iffy moments like, bro, this is not normal. Why are you not cool with your mother? Why are you not close with your mother? It's not a normal thing, especially for a Black American. But over time, she was able to see things for herself and come to a full understanding. So in those tough moments for me, she was able to show me a high level of grace. Because the last thing I want is my family to feel the effects of what I went through in my past by repeating the same things from my past. I go by this mantra all the time. My family gets tired of hearing this. What we hate, we recreate. So I had to release the hate I had towards my mother, forgive her. I did that face to face with her. So by all means, I'm approaching my children and especially my wife with the freshness. I don't have lingering pain or lingering anger from my first family. Every day is my goal to love them authentically and thoroughly and give them every piece of affection that they need. Damon Wayans said what many of us are afraid to admit, that mothers can be flawed, can be broken, and even toxic. But we don't have to carry what was passed down. We can call it out, we can heal it, and we can do better for the next generation. If you can relate to this at all, hit me in the comment section, or if you'd rather send me an email, you can do so at mailcoaching@yahoo.com, or you can hit me in my DM at any of my social media platforms. You can find that in the description below. However you leave your comment, I want you to answer this question. Was your mother your healer or your hidden wound? Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mel. Thank you for joining my channel. Thank you for checking things out here. Oftentimes we go on people's pages and are like, man, what is going on here? What is the purpose of this channel? So let me be clear. The purpose of this channel is to speak truth regarding the nuclear family. And when I say truth, I'm not saying my truth, not your truth, but the Lord's truth. All about the word, all about the ways and the will of God. What does he have to say about the nuclear family? And I believe the generations of today, whether it be Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Y, whatever the case may be, I believe now we have a very toxic relationship regarding marriage, regarding family, regarding having children. We're in a toxic dynamic as we speak. And honestly speaking, a lot of the answers that we're looking for in our community, a lot of the cures and a lot of the answers would come from a proper, fulfilled family home. If you go down the line of everyone's individual trauma, there you will find some negligence or some type of issue that they had with their parents. So here on this channel, we address those things head on. We don't place fear in those issues and avoid the topic. We do what Jesus did. And when he said, don't assume that I came for peace, but I came with a sword. I came to turn family members against family members if it means you following me. If you have to cut them off, if you have to address them and have arguments for you to follow me, so be it. And I think at this point in our society, we're at the so be it stage. So here at Life Coaching by Mel, I'm all about bringing healing to that. And the number one way to do that is have honest conversations. So if that's something you like, that's something you're into, that's something you really want to be a part of, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to comment. Let me know what you think about everything. I do my best to respond as often as I can. I want to hear from you guys. This is not about me. It's about healing our nation, healing our states, healing our cities, healing our community, healing our homes. Love you guys. Take care.
Let's go.